Hi, it's really good to have you here. Welcome to this episode where I'm going to give you a May review. Now, before you switch off, listen carefully. This is going to be full of some really important strategies and tips that I would love you to start thinking about if you are also in the reselling game, whether that be vintage home decor, clothing, books, whatever that looks like for you. But tips that you can take away and start to really think about if you want to scale this into a proper business beyond a hobby. I'm going to give you the reality, the truths, the tips. I've had my own business for 10 years in coaching, and that's been services and product-based businesses within that umbrella. But before that, I was in teaching for 20 years. I was a deputy head teacher for 7 of those. And I've got a real sense of kind of strategy about my work. And as soon as I set this up in July 2024, I began, as I meant to go on, with strategic planning and tracking numbers and doing all the things that many of you might just think, oh gosh, that fills me with dread. I'm going to hopefully support you to break that down and understand your business better and whether it is actually something that is going to become profitable for you and worth doing. Because I will say this, like, we're all different. We all have different needs. We all have different desires, purpose, reasons why we're doing it. But ultimately, we all want this to be profitable, right? And this is not as easy as people on Instagram and Facebook make it look. For every one really successful reseller, there will be tens and maybe hundreds of people that are struggling with this, that are sitting on too much stock, that are finding it really challenging, that are not selling very much, that are really questioning why they've started to do it. And I hear you, like, I want to connect with you because I'm hoping through bringing together my business experience and my learning in this trade so far that I can help you to grow the way that I see my business now growing. And I'm tiny. There are people out there making thousands of pounds a month in reselling. I'm not there yet, but I am really delighted with the progress that I've made since last July. So let's just get to it. I have got notes today I don't want to miss out, but I love just filming here from the comfort of my bedroom because it feels dead informal. But I do want to ask you, if during this episode things pop into your mind that you're not sure about, please comment, please send me a message, find me on Instagram, true.north.vintage, drop me a message in there. More than happy to respond to you. But what I would love to know really is, would it be helpful to have some more business style tutorials where I actually break things down in more detail for you? Because I certainly found when I set up my first business in 2015 that was really, really useful for me to learn from other people that were in the coaching business and understand actually how to run a business in more detail. I'm more than happy to do that type of content if it's what people want. Right, so that's enough about my background and stuff. Let's get to it with the review. In May, I made 86 sales. Now, that is not the highest number of sales that I've ever had. Certainly October, November, December last year was way more than that. But I was really, really pleased because the average price of each sale has increased since back in October, November, December. And the average price of each sale was £19.83. So you can see already why it's important to track those numbers. Back in November, December, I was maybe selling, I don't know, I can't remember the figures off the top of my head, but certainly well over 100 items were going out in those months. And the average price of those sales was more like £10. So although I've sold fewer items, I have made more money, more revenue coming in. And I'll talk about profit and so on in this episode. But because I'm making more per item, my profit margins have increased considerably. And that's why now I feel like I'm starting to actually run what I think a proper business. When I first set out, and I've talked about this a lot on Instagram, I was really happy buying something for £2 and selling it for £4. That was great. Like, I was doubling my money, right? That's really good. It's a great place to start. You learn very quickly what works for you. But when you start to actually calculate the time put into that and the listing and the sourcing and the photography and the posting and all of that, and you take off your costs, you're probably not actually making that much profit. I still feel it's critical to go through those early stages of selling small items and aiming for really 3 times your money is a great place to start. But what I will say, my average sale price of £19.83, the average cost of each item in May was £2.40. So it was costing me £2.40 to buy that item, and I was selling stuff for £19.83 on average. Now, that obviously still has a lot of stuff to take off in terms of other expenses, and I'll come to that. But if I'm therefore making kind of 7 or 8 times the purchase price, if I take off that £2.40, I'm now making £17.40 profit, okay, gross profit. If you consider that the minimum wage in the UK is £12.21 an hour at the moment, I think, and I'm making £17.40 per item, is each item taking me more than an hour to process? So in terms of sourcing, in terms of photographing it, wrapping it, going to the delivery shop, right? You suddenly see why actually these things might not be as profitable as it first sounds. Forgive me there. If you think, if you think that you've got to really keep an overview of those numbers, I'm probably making minimum wage. Now, I now source in bulk. So I might go and buy something in bulk from an auction or from Facebook Marketplace. Let's say I don't sell china really, but let's say I buy 20 pieces of china on Facebook Marketplace in one go. It takes me 10 minutes to drive to that person's house, buy those 20 pieces. They work out really cheap at £1 a piece. That's much more efficient than spending 4, 5 trips to charity shops, walking around, finding the odd piece, paying maybe £4, £5 a piece. Like, you can see here why people are going to start kind of not making the money that they hope for if you just follow the charity shop route, for example. Now, everybody's different. You've got to weigh that up. I'm not discounting charity shops because I still find loads of lovely things in charity shops and I love to go. I enjoy spending an afternoon going around charity shops. I will buy things for personal use. We support the charities really heavily. My daughter volunteered in Oxfam. We donate tons to the charity and we're supporting the charity by buying. So it's something I still love to do, but is it cost effective in the long term? You need to kind of keep that balance. Now, when you take all of that into consideration, the big question is this additional income worth it? Is it worth the time and energy that you're putting into it? For me, it's a resounding yes. I can have some weeks where I only source in charity shops and it won't be as time efficient. I can then have the next couple of weeks where I don't buy anything and I am listing and churning stuff out and it's going out really quickly and inventory's turning over. And then I'm kind of like thinking, oh gosh, the bank balance is going up now. I can really see a point to this. It's working for me. But the most important thing is, like, I just enjoy it. This is a side hustle, for want of a better phrase, for me. And it's something I really, really love and enjoy to do. My daughter comes charity shopping with me or car booting with me. My husband does the same. We go to auctions together. We go pick up Facebook Marketplace things together. We combine it with other things that we're doing on little trips out. So it isn't something that's really, doesn't feel like work. So you might be spending a whole morning on a Sunday at a car boot sale and come away with very little stock. But if you've had a lovely morning and you would have been going anyway, then doesn't feel like work to me. So this is what I mean about our different attitudes to what we're doing. You take from this what sits with you. I'm only exploring with you how it makes me feel. Is my model for May sustainable? So you can do the maths, 86 sales, £19.83 per sale on average. Taking the cost price of those items at £2.40 each, it's still a really good return. I didn't source all of that stuff at charity shops and take lots of time. It was quick sourcing, lots of bulk buys, really, really helpful. Is it sustainable? For me, yes. That's because I am finding stock cheaply, and I've got kind of systems running now that are turning things over, and I'm selling. And that's another point I'm going to come to. But in the long term, I want more than £19.83 per item. I want to be making £40 per item, £50 per item, £80 per item. It's getting really hard to do that, but I have done it this month. In May, 11 of my products sold for £30 or more. So that is another big step forward for me. And I'm talking some of them at 70, 80, £90. My highest value sale was £135 for one item. So I was like obviously thrilled with that result. More of that, of course, that's what we all want. But sourcing those kinds of items does take time. It's also a lot of luck as well, like chance. You might come across something in a charity shop or car boot sale that's like that. But you need to think about, if I want to be making 70, 80, £90 a sale, what type of products do I know about, look for, are going to give me that return? Or am I just willy-nilly going into a charity shop and hoping for the best? Okay, I've become, certainly over the last few months, a lot more choosy. Whereas at first I would go into a charity shop and pick up any piece of brass that I saw because I love selling brass, now I'll leave a lot of it behind, because if it's £4, £5, £6 a piece, that's not for me. All right, I know I can get that far more cheaply through my network. I'm very lucky. My brother has been in the vintage trade for 20 years, so I've learned such a lot from him, and he's great at sourcing. So he might get me a job lot of stuff through his networks. So yes, that's me being honest, that does happen. But equally, I've had a brass job lot last month through a connection on Instagram, my lovely friend Kat, who put a lot towards, she didn't want it, she saw it, she sent it to me. So networking is really critical, but also putting in the legwork to check the auctions. That's where my brother gets a lot of it from. He goes on the online auctions in the day, or he'll go to auctions in person. And if you want my auction guide, check out my Instagram, true.north.vintage. There's a link in my bio to download a guide to auctions if you've never been to an auction before. Brilliant, really good way to source. But, you've got to think about, am I able now to put more money into buying the slightly bigger job lots, knowing that you're going to shift the stuff, okay? And I think I've reached a point where I can look on Facebook and think, no, I'm going to leave that one. I don't want that. Or I'll pass up sometimes a job lot. I did a thing on my Instagram recently. I got let down by a lady, sadly, not her fault. I went to buy some tapestries, framed tapestries from her, and she didn't show. She'd gone out and she'd forgotten. And it was a bit of a trek for me to go. Now, really, the price of those pieces was so good, would have normally gone back. But I know I can get those around here, closer to home, and I went on Facebook Marketplace and actually found a similar set. So I did get very lucky, but at the car boot on the Sunday, I would probably have found something similar. So don't just grab everything you see because you think it's the right thing. Be choosy, be careful. If you've not got much storage, for example, be thoughtful around that. If you have a budget, like I do, stick to it. I tend to do my sums at the end of the month, and then I work out my spending budget for the following month. So I'll do a lot of sourcing at the start of the month when I'm like, okay, I've got this budget now. I know what I can spend this month, and I will set on my merry way. And if I'm running out of money from my budget, my spending budget, I don't go. It's as simple as that. I try and go every Friday to the charity shops. I try and go to the car boot every Sunday, but I've got to a place where I can afford to invest like that in my stock. But I can't go every day. That would be crazy, because actually going out sourcing every day for me takes me away from the listing. I've got family commitments. I've got another business to run. We're selling the house, there's like all sorts of stuff going on. So it's just a question of pacing yourself and being strategic about what you're doing. Now, the big win, I really want to talk to you about this, just bear with me, sorry, is what's known as the sell-through rate. Now, if you've never heard of this before, the sell-through rate is the percentage of your inventory sold to customers. So if you've got 100 items and you sell 60 of those items, you've got a sell-through rate of 60%, which is pretty good. The higher the number, the better your business is functioning, if you like. If you've got a very low sell-through rate, you've got 100 items for sale and you only sell 6 in the month, 6% sell-through rate, you need to be looking at that thinking, okay, right, am I selling the right kind of products? Am I pricing this properly? Am I selling them in the right place? Now, this is all marketing. If you followed me, you know that my degree was in business studies and languages, huge marketing component. And ever since I've run my own business, I've been heavily involved in digital marketing in particular. And marketing hangs on the things around price, product, promotion, place. It's still those kind of traditional methods. So if your product isn't selling for you, which for me, china, ceramics, chintzy, English, painted ceramics, willow, flow, blue, all that stuff, never really sold for me. And at first I set off buying that stuff because I find it everywhere and I could never understand why it wasn't selling. And then energetically for me, I just don't really connect with it. I don't particularly have, I have a few pieces. I've got a lovely piece of blue and white on my shelf up there, but I don't know, I can't explain it. I just didn't really connect with it. I feel a little bit the same about clothes. I am experimenting. I've got some vintage clothes and I've still got some to list. I'm a little bit resistant, but I'm trying. Yeah, not really for me, and that's okay. And I know Kat, my friend who I go sourcing with, she's brilliant at selling vintage clothes, but she doesn't really do designer clothes. She doesn't really do brand labels, Next and stuff like that. She tries to find unique one-off pieces. That's her thing. She knows what she's looking for. It's very personal, but dig into it. Don't blindly copy somebody else, because if you see, like, take my business for example, and I sell an awful lot of brass, it's my best seller. Don't think, oh, Jill sells loads of brass, I'm going to start selling brass. Because actually, I do know a lady on Instagram commented and went, I just can't get rid of it. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. She's not doing anything wrong. It just doesn't fit with her branding. I want to do more on this. Like, branding and marketing is a whole other millions of episodes we could do on this. But I have built my brand very much around like True North Vintage, the North Star, the star logo, shiny metals just seems to sit with that. I love earthy woods as well, like connecting with the earth. It just feels right for me. But you've got to bear in mind, I sell a lot of brass and I'm making a lot of profit because I'm sourcing it in bulk at really low prices. And I'm not just buying the standard stuff that you see everywhere. I'm really hunting out the unique pieces. And I'll go into eBay and I'll look at, are there 700 other people selling these candlesticks? If so, I'm going to price them more cheaply, get rid of them more quickly. That's fine. But if I'm paying £2 for candlesticks and selling them for 15, okay, you might pay £8 and undercut me on Vinted and think, well, Jill's selling them at 15. If I list mine for 14, I might sell them, but your profit margin might be lower because you've paid more. So it's all relative. You've really got to sit and reflect. I think, and journal if you like, or whatever it is that you do, about how your products are selling for you and know which categories are selling well. So in May, I started mostly with 100 listings, and I had a goal to get to like 150, even 200 listings. If you watched my April episode of this review, you'll know what I was thinking there. But I got to about 140, I think, and my sell-through rate of that inventory was 58%. So I sold 58% of my inventory. Okay, I was absolutely thrilled. In April, it was more like 20-odd%, I think. I can't remember the number off the top of my head. But I know that shows me I am choosing better. I am pricing it right. I am using the right marketplaces, which, if you don't know, I do sell on Vinted, Facebook, eBay, Etsy and Depop. Etsy and Depop are pretty quiet for me. Etsy picked up actually. It did pick up in May, I have to say. eBay, Facebook and Vinted are where I do most of my sales. But if you have a low sell-through rate, if your figures are low, you need to look at stock clearance. And if you're not sure about stock clearance, go and watch my episode where I cleared stock in January, and in 2 weeks I absolutely smashed through my stock and got rid of loads. I did a massive clearance sale. I sold loads on Facebook. I prepped a ton for car boots. I've done 2 car boot sales. I think they were in March, and cleared a load, got cash flow back into my business. And you need to know when to cut your losses, like get rid of the stuff. Just get it on Facebook as a job lot, or go to a car boot and just sell there for cash in your hand on the day that they go back into your business, and you've got that cash flow coming. Whereas instead then, if you buy something for £2, you get £2 back for it. You can then take that £2 and buy something or save it towards something that you know is going to give you a better sell-through rate. I hope all of that makes sense. But retail, when I worked with Willida UK, we use those principles to understand what's selling well for us. So for me, when I worked with Willida, I was absolutely the queen of selling Arnica products. I was besotted with that range. I loved it. I used it because I was very into my sport. I had 2 girls that were into their sport. I mixed with sports parents. I was very much in that world. That was my market. And I would get the most phenomenal sell-through rate on Arnica, whereas other people in the business would be struggling with that product line and would do much better on beautiful skincare. Do what you love, what resonates with you, what makes you feel joyous, but keep in mind all the time those profit margins. I'm going to do a separate video on marketing and all of that. I think I can feel it coming. Yeah, because I had a phenomenal experience in the Trafford Centre last week that I do want to talk to you about, but I'll share that later. Something really dawned on me when I was walking around the Trafford Centre about sales. Okay, so just to recap that, sell-through rate, the higher your sell-through rate, the better your business is performing. If it's low, you need to start looking at clearing some stock. So my sell-through rate of 56% was just, or 58 was it, sorry, 58.06 to be precise, was creeping up. I track all this stuff. And I was thinking, wow, this is actually a really positive thing for me. And not only am I making more per item, but I'm selling stuff much more quickly. It takes a long time. It was not like this before. And if you're only starting out now, this isn't the best time of year, because we're coming up to summer, July, August, September as well sometimes. Notably the slowest months of the year. People are saving up for holidays, they're going away, they're not buying, they're not thinking about gifts yet. Once we hit autumn, Christmas sales will start. So if you're starting out now, please don't be disheartened. Use the time, if you're not selling, to get the systems set up. I can do videos on that if that's helpful to you, but this is going to help you to forecast your future demand. Right, so my best sellers from May, were brass, framed art and vintage bags. Okay, they were my best sellers. Again, with art, I have some art pieces that just haven't shifted. I've tried to sell them at Car Boot. I've ended up donating them to charity shop. They get written off as a loss in my business. That's fine. I know what sells for me and I look really specifically for certain things. But you might be able to sell beautiful contemporary pieces that, I don't know, don't blindly copy. Just sell what you feel in your heart. But do the numbers, do the maths, and then you know what to buy more of. Like, I know, I can actually buy more expensive art now and sell it. Whereas the cheaper stuff is harder to sell, it's more mainstream. So I actually have started to spend more money on art pieces and sell them at a much higher price. Right, Facebook Marketplace was a really good place for me to sell in May. Particularly, I actually sold, which I haven't included in this, a lot of home items as well because we're moving house. So those larger items go really, really well on there. Vinted and eBay as well still remain my best platforms. Now, I've talked about getting my brass through good networks and trying to source it really cheaply. I think it's about just looking in your area and seeing what you can get at what prices and doing your research on eBay. So I use eBay completed and solds on the filters. Again, I can do a video on this to check prices, see what it's selling at. I don't just see the price that somebody's got it for on Etsy, because people have stuff on Etsy and it's way more expensive than it might be on eBay. Etsy is a really trusted platform. People love it. You get a lot of international sales through Etsy. It's a really great platform if you can crack it. But don't rely when you're doing your research on Google or whatever, oh, somebody's selling that on Etsy for £60. It doesn't mean they're going to get £60. Somebody else might be selling it on eBay for £40. The really important bit to look for is the completed and sold price. And if you look on Etsy, you can't see that price. You don't know what it sold for. It'll just say sold out. So eBay will give you the real lowdown. So you might see on there that 10 people have bought this item that you're interested in buying. 10 people bought it on eBay and it was sold for 30 quid. Get it on eBay for 30 quid. If there's a profit margin in it for you, that's fantastic. Because 10 of that have sold, it's obviously in demand. If there's only like 1 or 2 listed, it's more likely to sell. So there's a whole sell-through rate thing about actually understanding on eBay as well, if how many of those items are already up there. If you're going to buy something and there's like 200 already on eBay and they're not selling and you check completed and sold and none have sold, don't buy that product, okay? So there's more in sell-through rate to talk about in the future. Now, how much stock inventory do you currently have? That's also a number that I'm really urging people to think about. And what's the value of it? Okay, do you know how much you paid for everything you've currently got listed? So at the moment, my listed stock, as of today, cost me £466.42. So that is what I have got, that I have spent out on my listed stock. I've still got stock that's unlisted, but I know how much it's cost me. So I'm aiming for 7 to 8 times. So potentially at 7 times, that £466 that's already listed could make me £3,264. Brilliant. All right, absolutely lovely. There's a lot of hard work though to get there, isn't it? Selling all that stuff, packaging it all up, then you've still got to pay tax, because this isn't my first income, this is a second income. All your expenses have to come off. So I'm at a point where I'm actually thinking, right, I need to get listing more quickly, because if I think I've got about 130 items and that's worth £466. If I can get £1,000 worth of stuff listed that's cost me £1,000, 7 times it, I'm going to make 7k income. So there's a whole scaling thing here going on where you've got to think about what you're spending and how much it's going to give you back. So do you know at the moment what you've spent on all the stock you've got listed and what the potential return is? Like, do you know that number? I do. My potential return, if everything carries on in the trend it's going on, is £3,264. But I want more than that. I'd love 7k to come in the next 2 or 3 months, you know, if my turnover carries on as quickly. So I need to get £1,000 of stock listed. I have got a lot of unlisted stock, as I've said, that I can get on there and get to that figure. But this helps me determine my buying budget. If I want £1,000 of stock listed because I want to make 7 grand, I've got to go and buy that, but I need to buy it carefully and cautiously because I don't want to be stuck with dead stock. So hopefully you can see through all of this conversation where this is going, how all these dots join up. If you're still with me and you're following all of this, I'm super grateful. I really, really hope and pray that this is useful. If you feel that you would like to learn more about this, drop me a comment or message me on Instagram and I will do some more detailed tutorial type videos and show you stuff. I think it's often easier. But if you've ever watched Dragon's Den, how many times have you heard Deborah Meaden say, you don't know your numbers? It's not a business. You do not know your numbers. And if you're just starting out, it feels really scary, doesn't it? Really scary. And I'm really hoping that through my Instagram page and my stories in particular, if you watch on there, I'll talk about stuff like this. And through these videos, that you'll start to get a better understanding of your numbers and see how important it is to keep an eye on all of the moving parts. And it's so hard. If we all knew the absolute magic panacea, we'd have 100% sell-through rate and we'd all be just sailing through and it'd be easy. This is what I said at the start. It's not easy. It's not as easy as people make it look. And that's why I think that honest truth is so, so important. So when you see the sellers selling 20, 30, 40 items a day, or whatever that looks like, it's fabulous. But you have no idea actually how much inventory they're holding, how much of that cash flow is tied up in their stock. Have they got an idea of their sell-through rate? They might have thousands and thousands of pounds sitting in unsold stock. Everybody's different. So you might have the seller that's only selling 2 items a day, but their profit margins are way outperforming the person who's selling 10. Okay. And platform doesn't always matter. Like, I get this a lot on my messages. People message and say, what do you think about Etsy? Da, da, da. I don't find Etsy as easy. It's not intuitive. My daughter's taking that on, although she's travelling at the moment, so she's not doing anything on it. And that's okay. That's okay. It's where you feel comfortable, and it's knowing your numbers enough to know if there's a profit. Is it like cost effective in terms of your time? You know how I feel about time and listing, and that's why I use Crosslist. If you still don't know, go and have a look at those videos. Right, so think Dragon's Den. All right, I think that's probably enough on all of the numbers. Let me give you a rundown of the things that went really well in May. Okay, this is important because the wins matter, all right? It's really, for your business, sit down at the end of the month and just write down all the things that went well. For me, it was going out thrifting again with Kat and meeting her mum at the start of May. Kat's Pre-Loved Closet on Vintage. She is absolutely wonderful. I've just learned loads from her. We just really enjoy each other's company. It was a massive win. We're going to go again. I was picked as well to trial a program called Business Secrets on Instagram. That was a huge win for me. I loved it. Working with Martha Brooke, she's now called Martha Keith, but she runs Martha Brooke London Stationery. What a win. I loved that. This channel, I didn't get as many videos out, I have to say. I tried really hard, but things got in the way, like selling our house. I've gone over 200 subscribers, so I'm really happy. Really excited. And my little Instagram account is I'm enjoying that. It's growing slowly, but I'm trying to be more consistent on there as well. I've spoken before, I'm not obsessed about follower numbers. That isn't the point. I'd rather have a smaller, more engaged community, but I feel that the people I'm connecting with on there are my people. It's like really a lovely place to be. But then the struggles, let's talk about the reality, right? It's really hard. Whilst things have got better for me in terms of sales and sell-through rate and all of that, it's actually, this is the way my brain works, right? ADHD brains and all that. I've got too many ideas, too many things. I want to do too much. I'm literally like, I'll do that. No, I'll do that. No, I'll do this. I'll do this. I can't keep myself focused enough sometimes to finish stuff. So website, I'm actually thinking my husband and I are going to have a chat about it. Like we might do something a little bit different. I'm just not connecting with it. I don't really want to run a web shop. I'm doing okay on the online platforms. Like I'm not sure. So I've got something else that's probably coming, but this is what I mean. I've got too many ideas. Keeping up, like it feels like, I'm going to be honest with you, sometimes I feel like, I can't keep up. There's these other sellers that are just doing amazing and they're really smashing it. And like, I can't compete with that. How am I going to do that? And this is the whole comparisonitis thing, isn't it? You've got to be able to step away and stop and go, right, no, look at what I have achieved. Focus on your own lane. There were times in May when I was like, I'm tired of this, like I'm done. And I'd come off Instagram for 2 or 3 days because it was making me feel like I'm not good enough sometimes. So don't be worrying what other people are doing. Like, you see people's photos, they're beautifully curated, like mine are not. They have really aesthetic homes where they can do these amazing pictures and do their videos, and you think, oh, mine's not like that. I'm not going to show up because mine's not like that. No, I just keep kicking myself and reminding myself, like, just be yourself. It doesn't matter. You'll always see me showing up from my kitchen or my utility anyway. So just keep doing that, because if people don't like it, they'll unfollow you. It doesn't matter. And I still have days when I worry, like, is this worth it? Am I doing the right thing? Am I going to get to a point where I make enough money? Because somebody said to me once, and this is so true, it might have been my brother actually, you're only as good as your last sale. So my last sale yesterday was a wooden letter rack that I made £10 on it. So that's like kind of where I've got to. If all I do every day is sell one wooden letter rack, it's not going to be worth it for me. But it was only a couple of days before I sold the £135 thing. So it's just getting your head around the fact that this is the business and the nature of the business. It's very, very up and down. When I worked in sales for Walida, I knew seasonally how much stuff I was going to sell. I just had a really good handle on my sales and my figures, and I could predict trends. With this, it's much less predictable. and it can therefore become really challenging and quite demoralising. Yeah, so don't worry, that's okay, because I've been selling my house, we've been doing GCSEs with the Home Ed, I've been in this Business Secrets programme, my mum had her 82nd birthday, we had loads of stuff, we went to see Kylie Minogue, that was a win, she was amazing. Stuff that got in the way, and it made me feel sometimes like I wasn't doing enough. So yeah, we all feel like that. Next steps, all right, really, I hope this is useful, because as a coach, I work with executives and head teachers and all walks of life, and I work with women who are struggling with confidence and well-being and all sorts of stuff. I've got well-being qualifications that I did when I had my heart attack at the end of my teaching career. I had a heart attack, and that's why I quit teaching and set up my own business. But I initially retrained as a massage therapist first and got into holistic therapy, then went on to be a nutritionist and a well-being coach. So that's where my coaching of women comes from. But my positive psychology stuff is what I love the most. And I think the tip to take away, and the thing I'm going to remind myself of is in June, that I feel so small compared to so many other sellers. I really do. But my steps are my steps, and it's really important that I recognise, and this is great for confidence building, that there's always somebody behind you. Like, whatever you're doing in life, there's always going to be people in front of you, but there's always people behind you. And don't forget, you're inspiring the people behind you. Like, you really are. If you've just set up an Instagram page and started vintage selling and it's not going so well, and you're worrying and doubting yourself, there are people looking at you thinking, wow, she set up an Instagram page and she started vintage selling, and that's really interesting. Wow, gosh, I wouldn't have the guts to do that. That's amazing. I'm so, like, proud of her, shocked, stunned, in awe of her. Don't lose sight of the way that you are inspiring people. Just acknowledge that. And remember, this is really important. Your business isn't a destination. Like, there's no end point. Your business is what's happening today. So today, if you've sold one thing for £5 and you've doubled your money, that is exactly the right place for you to be today. That's exactly where I was back in July, August, September last year. I remember saying to my husband, I'm doubling my money. Give me time, I'm going to get to 3 times my money next. And I can show you my figures. Like, it's now 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. I've only recently been hitting 7, 8 times my investments. So that ROI, that return on investment, will gradually start to creep up and grow. Tips to take away. Stop caring what other people think. Literally, don't worry about it. Just be yourself. Don't worry. Just also, please, 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 if there's one thing you do today, go away, complete a review of May, and pat yourself on the back for the stuff that went really, really well, because there will be loads. There'll be so many things that were wins for you. Literally, so many things. I will do a business confidence episode next. I've been promising this for ages. I'm going to actually probably do that at my desk, like a coaching episode for you, and talk through things about how to improve your confidence and your mindset towards your business. Right, I feel like I have really rabbited on, that's 40 minutes, really rabbited on today, but I genuinely wanted to do something that gave you some more meat on the bones. I've been getting lovely feedback from people about the stuff in the business review episodes. I don't get as many views, but that's not what's important to me. I want to just help the people out there that really feel like this is useful. Yeah, okay. I'm glad you've tuned in. Please connect, ask me any questions, and know that none of us are perfect. And today so far, I haven't made any sales. Yesterday was one. So, it's not always roses and champagne and all of that. Have a lovely day. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. I really appreciate that. All the best. Take care.